Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. October 12th, 2017.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what this is incredible. So as as we're off air, I'm watching this press conference, this time now with Chief of Staff General John Kelly, and literally it's going on and on and on, and it's what he keeps saying. I'm not quitting. I have no intention of quitting. I'm not frustrated at my job. Like, where are you guys getting this information? You guys are just making this stuff up. This is like complete fake news. Like, don't you guys have any decency? Don't you guys want to report on something accurate? And so look at the time that he's wasting. He's the chief of staff, and he's got to debunk this BS, this bullcrap of, no, I'm not quitting. No, I never said I was going to quit. No, I'm not frustrated. No, I'm very happy here. It's a tough job, yes, but I'm very happy here. Where'd you guys got this? I don't know. I don't know. And so this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I think, again, he's being too polite and too civil. I would look at them and say, you know what? I'm going to sue you, and I'm going to sue you, and I'm going to sue you, because what you guys are doing is a disgrace to the country, and frankly is bringing the country down. Because nobody believes you anymore. And, it's like the wolf that, it's like crying wolf. One time you're going to report something, whatever, a war or whatever it is, and it's going to be true, and nobody's going to believe you. And so, believe me, he's wasting everybody's time. He's completely right. He goes, all you're doing is wasting our time. You in the media, at best, are just wasting all of our time. Now, speaking of wasting our time, you knew it. It happened after Las Vegas. You knew it was going to happen. The moment the Moonbat started screaming bump stocks, bump stocks, bump stocks, bump stocks, you knew that the Moonbats in Massachusetts were going to follow through. You just knew it. So, listen now to this. Only in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. So, the Massachusetts House, the State House, has now passed a bill. They, in fact, voted on it yesterday, 151-3. So almost unanimous, okay? In favor of legislation, you guessed it, that would ban bump stocks, which is a device you put on a semi-automatic, usually an AR-15, which for a while is able to mimic fully automatic guns in terms of the burst of fire, but this is only for short periods. So basically, instead of going boom, 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 it goes brr, brr, brr. And so they banned the bump stocks. So Charlie Baker, it's not going to head obviously to the Senate, it's going to pass overwhelmingly. Charlie Faker, says he supports the ban. He says we need to ban bump stocks in Massachusetts. It's absolutely critical. And so, and the bill, in fact, was sponsored initially by State Representative David Linsky, a Natick Democrat, another Moonbat, who said that, in fact, filed this legislation. So listen to this. It would outlaw any devices which, when attached to a rifle, a shotgun, or a firearm, increases the rate of discharge of the weapon. And the big one is obviously the bump stock. Now, here's the kicker. So, let's just say, for the hell of it, you're a hunter, and you like the bump stock because you think you can kill more deer with it, or whatever. So, you buy a bump stock. And you stick it on your gun. And they catch you. Now you've broken the law, right? What do you think, as the French would say, the penalty is? What do you think the penalty? What do you think the penalty is? Take a guess. What do you think? $500 fine? $1,000 fine? Jeff, no, don't tell me jail time. I mean, like what, a week in jail, Jeff? Maybe 10 days? A month in jail? No. Here in Massachusetts, if you buy a bump stock, once this passes and becomes official law and Baker signs it. You violate the measure, you will face between 3 and 20 years in prison. Let me repeat that. Once this measure takes effect, okay, 180 days after becoming law. So they're going to give you 180 days to get rid of your bump stock. Once it takes effect after 180 days, once it's passed, you're caught with a bump stock or using a bump stock, you're going to go to prison, my friend, for 3 minimum up to 20 years. There are murderers in this state that don't get 20 freaking years. There are rapists in this state. Hell, there are child molesters in this state that will get 7 years, 9 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever. But you buy a bump stock, whoa, 20 years. 3 to 20. Potentially up to 20 years in prison. These people are insane. I'm looking at this. I'm like, boy, they really love being the laughing stock of the country, huh? Is everybody up on Beacon Hill? Like, are they auditioning to be comedy writers for, I don't know, Jimmy Kimmel? You know, or the Comedy Central, or I'm not kidding. I mean, do they all want to be comedy writers up there because and turn Massachusetts into like a national laughing stock? Like, tell you what, we're not only going to ban them, 20 years in prison.
Thank you, Massachusetts.
Ay. Now, here is what the Boston Globe will not tell you. Here's what Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 10, Channel 25, WGBH, I can run down the whole list. Here's what they're not going to tell you. Bump stocks have nothing to do with mass shootings. What happened in Las Vegas would never have been prevented if you had banned bump stocks. Banning bump stocks would not have prevented anything in Las Vegas. In fact, because when you put a bump stock on a rifle, let's say an AR-15 or whatever, it actually significantly diminishes the accuracy of the gun. You just like spray wildly. There's no aim. This is why professionals never use bump stocks. If you want to, not that I'm giving people advice, but if you want to shoot people up, don't use a bump stock. You actually will kill more people. I'm being serious. You will kill more people with, let's say, an AR-15 or whatever if you don't use a bump stock. Because if you use a bump stock, you can't control the fire. It becomes an incredibly inaccurate weapon. Furthermore, most of the guns can't handle a burst of automatic fire. The metal melts down. So I'm just telling you, if you're planning to like shoot something up, don't use a bump stock. It's the worst thing to do is use a bump stock. So what do? They ban a bump stock. Why do they have to ban a bump stock? Because they said so on MSNBC. That's it. Bump stocks. Bump stocks? Bump stocks. So, and I just got to say one more thing. Here is what I don't get about the moonbats in Massachusetts. They're the biggest busybodies in the world. They can't stop not minding their own business. Do they love to get involved in your affairs, my affairs, or the affairs of everybody else in the country? I'm telling you, I think all of them deep down, I think they crave to be like, you know, the old lady gossip in the village back in the old country. That's them. That's them. Always looking through the window, through the crack in the door. Who's she seeing? Who's he seeing? What are they doing? What car are they driving? How come they have so much money? They got more money than I do. We got to tax that. What are they doing there? They shouldn't be doing that. I mean, that's how they are. So I want you to think about this, okay? Did the massacre take place in Boston? Maybe I missed the news flash. Did it happen at at one of the casinos? Did it happen at? I'm just thinking out loud now. Mohegan Suns. Did it hit? Was the massacre at Mohegan? Did I miss something? So the massacre doesn't take place in Boston. The shooting doesn't take place in Boston or Massachusetts. Nowhere. In fact, do we even have mass shootings in Massachusetts? You know. So why are you buying bump stocks? I just find it incredible.
Kuhner, with their logic, how many years ago they would have banned what the Boston Marathon bombers used?
Oh, you mean the
pressure cookers?
The pressure cooker bombs?
With their logic, I mean that happened in Boston. Why didn't they ban those?
Well, or actually go to the real. Remember the radicalized mosques? We reported how they were going through these radicalized mosques. Jeff, don't you even talk about that. They wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But when it comes to the bump stocks, we're going to show them. This is Massachusetts. We're banning the bump stocks. Honestly, this is a joke.
Don't forget our machine guns too, Jeff.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Well, the machine guns, I mean, so think, and I said this at the pre-show meeting. I said, say what you want about Boston, Massachusetts. We have a lot of problems here. But let me tell you one problem we don't have. I mean, we just don't have it. We don't have these kind of mass shootings that you have in other parts of the country. And I'll tell you what else you don't have. We don't have this, this white cops shooting minorities. We just don't have it. So I get the issue if you're in St. Louis, if you're in Chicago, I get it. But here, it's not as if we have, oh my God, again, today, another white police officer shot, let's say, a minority in Dorchester or whatever. It doesn't happen. But it doesn't matter. There's Black Lives Matter marching down the middle of the street, blocking Boylston. There they are. Blocking, what was it, the 93 or the 95, blocking those highways. There they are. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, we don't even have many cops involved in shootings, number one. Number two, we don't even have white cops shooting young black men. We don't even have that.
What about banning flights out of Boston, Jeff?
There you go.
With this logic, I mean, no planes, no pressure cookers.
And those mosques, they got to go down, but they won't touch those mosques. The mosques, they don't touch. Ooh, they love those mosques. They want more mosques. In fact, Marty Walsh wanted 10,000 Muslim refugees from Syria just in Boston alone. But it's the bump stocks, Brittany. That's what's going to keep us safe. Ban the bump stock. 617-266-6868 is the number. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I just, honestly, I did the sign of the cross. Banning bump stocks. Will that keep Massachusetts safer? I ask you. 617-266-6868. Have I been institutionalized and I don't know it? Am I in a massive institution and it's just called Massachusetts and I don't even know it? Is this a bad dream? Can somebody wake me up from this freaking nightmare? 224 here on the great WRKO. You can text us, by the way, 680. All right, my friends, they actually did it. Massachusetts State House, 151-3, now votes to ban all bump stocks. And it's going to take effect after 180 days, once the law is signed by Charlie Faker. And after that, if you own a bump stock, use a bump stock, cut with a bump stock, 3 to 20 years in prison. 617, Jeff, according to these moonbats, why don't we just ban all criminals? That'll end all crime, won't it? CJ in Boston. Go ahead, CJ.
Hey, Jeff, when is the best time to plant a liberal? So really, Jeff, this guy Linsky from Natick who proposed this, or submitted this.
Yes, that moonbat.
Don't you remember this guy a few years ago? on the sundown law on putting your headlights on a half hour before sundown.
That was
that's
him.
The guy. Yeah, he wanted to impose a $5 fine for not putting your headlights on when your windshield wipers are on, but it would be a 6-year penalty on your auto insurance. It'd be a moving violation. It was beautiful. Jeff, it's often been said that liberalism is a mental disorder. But what if I told you that I actually found out the cause of this? I dubbed this the Weinstein syndrome. I believe it's being caused by excessive self-induced masturbation.
I gotta tell you. I mean, I'll tell you this. It's as good a theory as any now at this point. Tony in Gloucester. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, Jeff. What really needs to happen here, which hasn't happened, I don't think ever, is the Department of Justice has to come down on these states saying, if it's Second Amendment, I don't care if it's ammunition, if it's bump stocks, if it's, if it has to do with guns, it's out of your bounds. And just sue them all. It's Second Amendment. You don't have any legal right to start challenging stuff. It's a right from the federal government, a Second Amendment, and you states can't do anything about it. Leave it alone.
Well, Tony, or, you're right, or what if we start using bump stocks and we convert them to bongs? Like, what if you and I start buying bump stocks, but we just, we start doing a little bit of the puff?
Wow,
what do you think, Tony?
That might work. They might be for it then. I mean, after all, why not, Jeff?
Thank you for that call, Tony. I mean, look, it's my bump stock. You don't know what I'm doing with my bump stock. I love my bump stock. Dan in Woburn. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Jeff, they ought to start enforcing the laws they have on the book. There's a 2-year minimum mandatory sentence if they catch gangbangers with guns they're supposed to enforce, and they don't enforce it a lot of times. These kids don't get the 2 years. They should do that in Chicago and in New York and everywhere else if they're having the problems with these guns. That would make the most sense. Punish the people that are the ones using the guns. And my second point is I wish Trump would they have an all-out assault, and they're going to come after him with frivolity every day. I mean, if you saw that Eminem video, now Eminem's probably the lowest type of form of human being you can get to, and he's calling Trump out. And I just hope Trump doesn't even respond to that maggot. But they're going to come after him with like an NFL-type scandal or something like that every day to distract him or to make him look small and petty. He should rise above it and just even get rid of the news and just come out with his own tweets and statements every day and not even answer the reporters anymore.
Dan, I mean, I don't want to get off topic here, but I got to tell you, I think I would advise him if I was in the White House. I'd say I think you should hold, in all seriousness, and I don't want to get off topic, but I would hold a televised national address. I really would. And I would just go story after story after story and say, this is not media. Or this is not. And they're out to destroy me because they fear you. They don't want the people's agenda to triumph in the White House. And enough is enough. And because of this, because they're so irresponsible and so reckless and so malicious, you know what? We're not going to do a daily press briefing anymore. They ask questions, send it. We'll give them a response, via email or whatever. But outside of that, because you guys aren't honest. Now, remember, look at the dishonesty, okay? We're talking bump stocks. We don't even know what happened in Las Vegas now. Now you've got the security guard. He was shot 6 minutes before as opposed to after. Now you've got one of the Mandalay Bay workers, I talked about it in my first hour, coming out and saying, I warned the hotel before the shooting began that the security guard was shot. So why weren't the police on the scene? Why weren't they called? Bump stocks. Just ban bump stocks. Ban bump stocks. And so what I want to ask Charlie Faker, and I'm being very serious, and all these clowns up on Bacon Hill, would it kill you guys to read a newspaper? Because bump stocks had nothing now to do with what happened in Las Vegas. If anything, slow police response time, complete incompetent bungling on the part of the cops may be the real reason why that guy unleashed hellfire. 617-266-6868. Let's take it to Evan Heidrich in the newsroom. 2:35 here on the great WRKO. Okay, only in Massachusetts. Only they've struck again. So now the Massachusetts State House has voted 151-3 to ban, wait for it, bump stocks. Charlie Faker says he's going to sign it. It's going to cruise, just fly right through the Senate. So it's going to become law any day now. But here's the kicker. If after 180 days, there's a 180-day period after the law passes, and then if you still have a bump stock, you will go to prison for 3 years up to 20 years. So, many of you are going to ask me, it's an obvious question. Jeff, look, I'm a criminal. I can't help myself. What's better? What should I do? Should I be dealing crack cocaine or should I be dealing bump stocks? Deal crack cocaine. Because you're not going to get the 20 years for crack cocaine. Bump stocks, you could get 20 years. Stick with the crack. This is from 508. Kuhner. I have 2 bump stocks. Why are they not grandfathered? Who gives me my money back? And who do I give them to? Okay, 508, I hate to tell you this, but essentially what they've told you is blank you. Just basically blank you. Your money, too bad. Blank you. I guess you drop them off to the police or whatever. Or what you could do is just sell them to MS-13. I mean, they like to use them sometimes with those gang-by shootings and stuff. They shoot up a house or like a crack house. So I would say sell them to MS-13 and put some money back in your pocket. Or I like Somerville. I would go to the mayor, sanctuary city of Somerville. Joe Curtatone. He's the wannabe gangster, tough guy. Hey, here's a couple of bump stocks. Give me $50 for him or $100 for him, and you can play with him till your heart's content. Oh, Curtatone, would love it. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. I got a bump stock. I'm like a gangster now. I'm like the real thing. And you know what? They're illegal. Yeah, that's right. They're illegal. 617-266-6868. Jim in Plymouth. Go ahead, Jim.
Jeff, I don't believe I'm saying it, but I have to disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah. I am an owner of guns. I have everything from a pistol to a BB gun to a shotgun to an old German Mauser. And I agree with you probably 99.9% of the time. However, I do not see any reason whatsoever for anyone to have even an assault rifle, whether or not it has a bump stock on it or not, in this country. I think that and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the last time that there was any type of warfare on the soil of the United States where automatic weapons would even be entertained was probably the Civil War. So and like I say, I don't understand what purpose does it serve to the general public.
You mean to have a bump stock?
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this, though, Jim, before I answer your question, because it's a very fair question. Would you ban AR-15s?
I think I probably would to the general public.
Okay, like, for example, what I've heard about AR-15s, I don't have one, I don't shoot one.
I don't either, I've never seen one.
But what I've heard about AR-15s is they're very light, they're very easy to use. If you're interested in self-defense, and in particular, they're very popular with women because they don't have a lot of recoil. They're very easy to use. A lot of women buy and own AR-15s. So I think the AR-15, for example, is an incredible self-defense weapon. from everything that I've heard. Now, as for the bump stock, look, I mean, Jim, in all honesty, I don't own shares in bump stocks. I don't care for bump stocks.
I understand, yeah.
But to me, from everything I've heard, most professionals don't use bump stocks. And the reason why is they make a gun incredibly less accurate. So this banning of a bump stock, at best, is just pure cheap symbolism. It's going to do nothing to lower shootings or save people's lives. It literally does nothing. It does nothing. So, in fact, as I said, most people don't even like to use bump stocks because your weapon, you just can't control it properly anymore. So, and by the way, the metal overheats on the gun. So what everybody is telling me is law enforcement, everybody, they go, Jeff, no, you don't understand something. If you want to kill people, you don't use a bump stock. The one thing you don't want to do is use a bump stock. So with all the problems that we face in Massachusetts, this to me is like number 1,547 on the list.
Well, I agree there. I think it was a complete waste of time and effort to pass this legislation. But at the same time, I don't see a need for anyone to have one on their weapon. Like you say, if anything, it is detrimental to the purpose. So, but it's crazy. I mean, these people. I mean,
yeah, Jim, my understanding. Look, Jim. Look, I'm not an expert. I don't use a bump stock. From what I understand, people just like to use them at the gun range.
Well, you made some statement about shooting a deer and making it easy. You know, if you can't kill a deer with 2 shots, you're not going to.
No, it was a joke, Jim. Jim, it was a joke. I mean, that's.
I understand. Yeah,
I'm making a joke of a guy who can't shoot a gun and he gets a bump stock and like, what do you want to do? Pump a deer with 30 bullets? You know, like if you're going to pump a deer with 30 bullets, you really, to me, that takes the fun. What's the point of hunting? I mean, it takes the sport out of hunting. 617-266-6868 is the number. No, look, the reason why I don't like it, it's why I criticized Trump when he made that first acknowledgement, well, maybe we'll look at bump stocks and get rid of bump stocks. It capitulates to the media narrative that what happened in Las Vegas was because of guns. That some kind of gun control is the answer. But it's not. So we're succumbing to a narrative that is completely false. If you really want to have a serious discussion about what happened in Las Vegas, there's many things to talk about. The culture, Hollywood, prescription drugs. There's many things why the mass shootings have increased in America. Guns have nothing to do with it. So at best, it's pure, cheap, liberal symbolism. That's it. And honestly, what about the people, the law-abiding people who bought bump stocks? They just got screwed. And what did they do? They didn't hurt anybody. Don in Stoughton. Go ahead, Don.
Yes, Jeff. From the previous caller, you don't need a reason to exercise the right. The only thing you cannot do with that right is to violate the rights of other people. So rights are without limit. They're bigger than the universe is. So if you want to take and possess a bump stock to go shooting with, that's fine. But the point I called in on is what the General Court is doing, Jeff, is unconstitutional. Under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 2, it says that no state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any impost or duties on imports or exports, and that includes from overseas or from any other state. You don't want to create a monopoly in a state, and so therefore states cannot do that. So whatever the General Court is doing, Jeff, they cannot do it legally because they're putting an infinitive tax or a complete ban on these bump stocks, and they have no authority to do so. They're violating Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution.
Don, keep in mind, don't drop them just yet. Don, look, brilliant, 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 bingo, bingo, bingo. But I want to ask you, because you obviously seem very knowledgeable.
I do hold a federal firearms.
Oh, it shows. It shows. Just to educate me and educate the audience, why would somebody legitimately need, you're right, it's a right, you don't need to have reason to exercise a right. But just why would you want, just for everybody, like, okay, why would Don want a bump stock? Just for the sake of argument.
Just to enjoy shooting rapid fire out on a range, just to learn control of the firearm, to burn off the ammunition, just to have fun. Basically, that's it. And it does not turn a firearm into an automatic weapon because you have to pull the trigger with each recycle of the firearm. So it's not an automatic weapon where you just hold the trigger down, and I've shot many automatic weapons. So big difference here. But if you just enjoy, it's like people, Jeff, who buy Gatling guns, all right? They got the rotating handle, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So they burn off ammunition. Why do you need a Gatling gun? No reason at all. But if you get enjoyment out of it, I mean, what does the Constitution say? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Oh, no, Don,
makes you happy shooting a Gatling gun or a bump stock?
Don, please, you're 1,000% philosophically correct. Don't get me wrong. No, so basically you're saying it's just for sporting, recreation, fun, almost for the thrill, you're saying, right?
Basically, that's it, Jeff. It shows you if you can take and control a bump stock firearm, you can then take and better control any other type firearm, semi-automatic, that you're shooting, which will give you better accuracy and aim.
So, Don, what you're telling me is, why do you need a Maserati?
You don't.
Right?
But
Bingo.
It gives you better training on how to drive. If you can drive a Maserati, you can drive a Yugo.
Thank you for that call, Don. Yeah, I think that's, Brittany was the one, by the way, who said that in my ear, and I think she's dead on. You're dead on, Brittany. Look, you don't need a Maserati. It's expensive, it's fast, it's a thrill car, why do you get a Maserati? As he said, a Yugo. I mean, a Ford Taurus will take you from point A to point B. Well, I like the thrill. I like the feel of it. I like being in a sports car. It's my money. It's how I enjoy myself. Don, you're completely right. Boy, Don should be our resident gun guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. Eric in Tingsboro. Go ahead, Eric.
Jeff, long time, first time. You're
Welcome.
hitting the nail on the head on everything, brother. I'm a law-abiding gun owner. I'm a police officer. I'm a firearms instructor. I've been in the field for 20 years. This is just another Massachusetts liberal politician doing a knee-jerk reaction of feel-good legislation that's going to do absolutely zero. And what it's going to end up doing is making law-abiding gun owners in the Commonwealth, again, just like in other states where they tried to pass, quote-unquote assault weapon bans, like in Connecticut, New York, making good guys potentially bad guys. And one of the things when the House passed it yesterday, one of the parts of Linsky's bill you're not talking about is pre-ban magazines. So when the federal assault weapons ban sunsetted in 2004, Massachusetts kept it on. So anybody who's out there listening knows that if you have pre-ban military 30-round, 20-round magazines for your AR-15s or 30-round banana magazines for your AKs, all the semi-automatic stuff, you can legally own as long as it's not stamped law enforcement in September of 1994 without getting into all the details. So now they want to pass, along with this law, Gun Owners Action has been posting it all day. The NRA have been getting hits on social media that they want to take away. So now if you have a handgun that has a pre-ban magazine and your Beretta, your SIG, your Glock, whatever you have that was made way back when, now they're going to make those felonies. But yet the bad guy goes to the street black market. They don't care. The politicians in the state don't care. They want to, they'll be protected by guns. They'll be protected by high capacity or standard capacity magazines. They'll be protected by AR-15s. But us, the peasants, this goes back to, the King George days. It's the whole reason we fought the American Revolution. And I just, they keep encroaching, chipping away. How long is it going to take? I mean, like you were going back to about the pressure cookers. I'm surprised they didn't try to ban them. I mean, it's just, if the state legislature got, they're running this quick. What about all the other stuff that's been sitting, other bills? I mean, you ever notice, like, when anything with gun control, it's like, bang, they got to get it through. Quick
Eric,
and fast.
you nailed it, buddy. Please, don't be a stranger. You nailed it. Notice, when it comes, just objectively, when it comes to filling our potholes, it takes time. There's no money in the budget. Just can't do it. It takes time. It's committee. We got to discuss it. Okay. How about the opiate crisis? Jeff, take it easy now. It's a complex situation, Jeff. Take it easy. Okay. How about illegal immigrants? No, Jeff. Whoa. Now, notice the fundamental hypocrisy. Whenever there is a Islamic terrorist attack, let's just take the Boston Marathon terrorist bombing. What do they say right away? Don't tar an entire group of people based on the actions of a few, right? Automatic knee-jerk liberal response. What do they do when a white guy guns people down in Las Vegas? tar every gun owner in this country. You're a potential danger and a felon because you own a bump stock. Notice, when it comes to gun owners, then right away they are willing to tar you right away and turn you into a potential felon based on the actions of one man. But when a Muslim terrorist, a radical Muslim terrorist, Allah, 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 tells you to your face, Allah, 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 don't you tar an entire group of people. The hypocrisy from the left is incredible. Now, I want to ask the audience an honest question. Bump stocks, how much do they go for? Like, in other words, up to now, you've been a law-abiding citizen. They're illegal. You bought the bump stocks. You got 2 bump stocks, 3 bump stocks, whatever it is. How much money are you now going to be shafted because you got to give them back? 617-266-6868. More with your calls next. Kuhner, come out with your hands up. Kuhner, get out of the bill. It's the police. Hands up. My friends, I think I've just been put on the terror watch list. So we've been looking to see how much bump stocks cost, and now I think they're. Hold on, Brittany. They're coming in. Hold on, Brittany. Call my lawyer. Call my lawyer, for God's sake.
I think I gotta get out of jail free card, Jeff.
Call your dad. See if he can get me out of jail. Somebody call a lawyer.
Or the Kuhner. We got a Kuhner terror cell here.
So we're kind of worried now because we've been researching bump stocks to see how much they cost, and I could be on some kind of a terror watch list. So they could be all of us. I feel sorry for Brittany, Jared. We could be on the Kuhner terrorist cell here. It could be a terrorist cell. So, by the way, a lot of you are texting in 617. Jeff, bump stocks was $180. 703. Jeff, they're about 100. Another one, 617. They're about 140. A lot of people are saying $100 to $200. Depends on what you get, how new, it's used, whatever. So basically, once this law goes into effect, that poor guy who has 2 bump stocks, he's going to be out. I assume it's a he, could be a she. He or she will be out $200 to $400. Blank you. Sell them to MS-13. That's my advice. Sell them. 617-266-6868. Richard in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Richard.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Ever since the shooting in Las Vegas, I've had the overwhelming thought that it wasn't that long ago, back in December and January, when Mr. Pomposity, our former president, went on a binge and he was releasing prisoners, so many prisoners every day for weeks and in fact months. I think there was well over 1,000 prisoners who were released onto the streets who were guilty of or committed felonies and used guns in the commission of a felony. And so he was giving them a get-out-of-jail-free card. I didn't hear the Democrats or the media, any hue and cry from them at that time. And so the thought occurred to me, if you really want to do something about gun control, how about saying, okay, no president, put in an amendment or put it in the Bill of Rights. No president can commute or pardon any prisoner who uses a gun in a commission of a federal felony, and you can't get paroled if you use a gun in the commission of a crime. That'll send a message loud and clear.
Richard, thank you for that call. You know what's remarkable, because you mentioned Obama? It was the Obama administration that passed the regulation saying, yeah, you guys want bump stocks? Go ahead, get bump stocks. So, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it was the Obama's ATF that said, sure, we got no problem with bump stocks. So the only time I've ever seen those moonbats up on Beacon Hill move so fast is bump stocks and when they gave themselves a pay raise. Remember when they gave themselves like these $20, $30, $40, $50,000 pay increases? Then they moved like lightning. So gun control and lining their pockets. Man, are they fast. Mike in Pennsylvania, I've got a minute. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, I just wanted to say I do agree with the ban on bum stocks. I also think that they should make mandatory in every car an alcohol breath tester, too, so that you would not be drinking and driving a car, because we can't trust people. We should also outlaw steak knives that are too sharp, only plastic. And I think that as a good Democrat, we have to watch out for people that can't protect themselves.
Oh, Mike, what about multimillionaires who gamble at casinos?
I think that they're gambling. They're not hurting anyone. That's fine. But people, we have to protect people being good Democrats. And I think it's only good. I think the laws, what they're doing is good. I think we should outlaw all guns. I don't think people should have any way to protect themselves.
Cars, knives, trucks. Hell, just ban the casinos. Hey, no casino, no massacre. Ban everything. I gotta go. Hopefully I'll still be around tomorrow. If not, bail me out of prison. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 3 o'clock.